so much. All right, very happy to be here. And I think I only have barely 10 minutes, so I'm going to go straight to the goal, which is to try and answer why here today we speak about a new age of ethical commerce. And I think the best way to start is by stating that I think our industry, which is where all of us dedicate our careers, digital technology, I think our industry is fair to say that has lived in a la-la land for too long. And when I say a la-la land, I mean a delusion, an unsustainable delusion that now has to confront, has to face reality. The reality of common sense, the reality of authentic value exchange, human, the reality of ethics. And, you know, who would have imagined, I mean, I know someone who did, but who would have imagined that the combined value of Google, Amazon, and Facebook, these three companies together, they value half of what they valued 18 months ago. It's quite a lot to dig. These companies, as you know, and sadly, they have announced the biggest layoffs in their history. If we can let that sink in for a moment, right? And what I think is very interesting, if we pay attention, is that this collapse, this reckoning, is not exclusive of the big mega cap tech company out there. This is affecting everyone. Big and small, they all seem to be hitting some kind of wall. And we need to face that. And, you know, what you see on the news every day, the valuation resets, the revenue drops, the fines, the layoffs, is happening at different paces in different countries, but it's just the beginning. And all this brings a very important question. I think this is the question, right? Why is this happening? Why our dearest industry, we've been the dandies, why our industry is being now challenged? I think this is a question we need to ask ourselves. And when you ask the big mega cap tech company out there, they put out a very nice and a very simple story. They say that they are going through a post-pandemic readjustment. That's all that they say. But I think, and I invite you to be open to consider this, that there is a much bigger story, a much more profound, interesting, way, way, way bigger story. And that story is an ethical crisis. I think these companies are hitting an ethical wall. So I'm afraid it's not just a post-pandemic readjustment. What's happening to these companies is that they're hitting an ethical wall, an ethical reckoning, an ethical collapse. Because for the first time, these companies are being challenged ethically by their own investors, ethically by governments and regulatory bodies that now don't trust them anymore. They're being ethically challenged even by their own employees and team members, that now they realize that in the eyes of these companies, they are nothing but some assets that can be easily be disposed of, things as opposed to people. And most critically, these companies are being ethically challenged by their own customers who don't trust them anymore. Because you cannot forever fool your customers. So it's not a post-pandemic readjustment, it is an ethical crisis. And what I think is very, very interesting and defines what's ahead is that this crisis cascades down and is hitting right at the flotation line of many other companies and players, startups, that originally they looked up to Google, to Amazon and Facebook as the way to go, as the example to follow. And in doing that, they also bought their one-way tickets to La La Land. Companies that, at a different scale than Google, Amazon, or Facebook, they apply their mindsets and the way they create features and functionalities that also systematically violate privacy. Features and functionalities that require to untangle privacy policy pages, that you have to wire into consent tracking banners, horrible experiences, whether these businesses or players are business to business or business to consumers, whether they deal with individuals or companies or retailers and brands, these companies also fell on that supposed to be innovation, which was nothing but imitation of the big mega cap tech company out there. And those companies now are hitting that ethical wall. And I think that time presents this transition to this new age of ethical commerce. And as you will hear later from Jose, our dearest CFO, while the state of the economy is incredibly fragile and the state of our competitors in terms of business models and revenue is being challenged, the state of our business is never been stronger. I think it demonstrates that there is another path for ethical-driven mindsets, products, features, and functionalities that creates a very long-lasting runway. And I do hope that you see here today on the speakers, on the different presentations, on the different panel discussions and fireside chats, and you feel that drive to seize this unique opportunity and the decisions that we have to make and follow through, to put all our capacity to invest into whatever ideas, into whatever innovations, into the way we organize ourselves, to put into good use our unique position. Because I think that is a new age of new ideas that I think we're putting and leaving behind the Silicon Valley myth. Unsustainable growth, careless, mindless growth is over. And the idea that the customer is a product, that idea just can't survive. That idea is unsustainable. That idea has died. And all the companies that are having problems, they thought that the customer was a thing, an object that you could use, abuse, deceive, track, trap into whatever subscription or attention trickery. That idea has died. And that presents and opens this new age of ethically driven, ethical mindsets, and of course, ethical people. And I think you know that we are perfectly made for this new age. And it's a time for us to deliver what we're made of, right? So with that, I just want to say thank you. And thank you so much. And welcome to the new age of ethical commerce. Thank you.
Why has the internet failed to understand who I am? Why do you, digital leader, data scientist, or marketer, believe you can predict my behavior and influence my choices? I am not a thing, I am a person. Accepting that I am human seems to make you feel uncomfortable. In the push for profit, you sacrifice a more complex, deeper interpretation of who I am. You reduce, objectify, and try to use me. You believe that I am predictable. You think you can turn my attention into your revenue. I am not a thing profiled by data. I am not a user. I am a free, autonomous person. I ask you to challenge today's online world, to question tracking, surveillance, and privacy violations. Instead of building products and experiences on data alone, take what data provides as circumstantial, temporary, and limited perspectives. You must imagine that human qualities are there, then you can become active and alive. There's an urgent need to understand that your value and your products must become truer to everyone's human nature. Earn respect by giving respect with ethical products. When you actively stand for ethics from the beginning, you take on uncertainty. This is not a comfortable space, but it is the very place from which the greatest ideas are born. Don't be afraid to put data back in its true place, answering to the people. In these actions, you will shift towards the ethical products of tomorrow. Join the movement. The new age of digital ethics.